Hi, welcome to the Green Homebuyer's Guide. My name is Anita Ledbetter, and I'm the Executive Director of Build San Antonio Green. We're excited to partner with Bexar County to provide you this webinar and information on how to buy a green home. After the video, and for more information, please go to buildsagreen.org. Thank you so much. Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar that we're holding this afternoon, our Green Home Buyer's Guide. My name is Anita Ledbetter, and I'm the Executive Director of Build SA Green. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about what is a Build San Antonio Green Home. And joining us for our market review and home buyers and mortgage tips is I'd like to welcome Elise Alonso and Jay Arbizu from eXp Realty. Hi, Elise and Jay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
A little later on, I'll be asking you kind of talk a little bit about yourselves and your experience. I know you guys together have about 30 years experience in the San Antonio real estate market. So really excited and thank you for joining us. I want to just real quick housekeeping for attendees. Then we're going to follow up with our Q&A. So if you remember how WebEx works, there's a little function where you could submit questions. We'll be checking those, and at the end of the presentations, we'll be kind of going over the Q&A and answering some questions from the audience. So with that, I'll kind of just jump right on in. So we're Build San Antonio Green, and we're the local green building program here in San Antonio. We're a nonprofit organization that was founded back in 2001 by the city of San Antonio, Bexar County, and CPS Energy. And our mission is really to protect and enhance the quality of life of the people of San Antonio through our work. Now, we do three things. First is community engagement. You may have heard of Solar Fest. We've been having that festival for about 19 years. Hoping to come back in 2021. Second is we work in solar, both with builders and also with the general public. We have a program called Bring Solar Home, where we provide unbiased technical advice free to you to help you go solar on your home or business. And what we're here to talk to you today about is about green building, which is pretty much one of our strongest activities that we perform out here in the community. Now, we've been doing this for a number of years, but we really, I think the past 10 years, green building has really taken off here in San Antonio. Today, we've certified over 23 million square feet of buildings here in our community. That represents over 10,000 projects. Most of them are single family homes. Now, we're doing this to save our city energy and water, or to reduce our emissions in our air. And so that 23 million square feet of certified projects really equates to removing about 23,000 cars off the road every year. So that's a huge impact on our local air quality. And also it's reducing our electrical demand by 17 megawatts, which is considerable. Now, in our green building program, we have several options. Now today we're going to be talking to you mostly about new construction, but we also do deep retrofits on existing homes, and we can also provide you with information about easy and simple, low or no cost things that you can do to save energy and water in your home. So we're going to be having another webinar in a few weeks on retrofits and again how to save energy and water saving tips. So look out for that. That's coming out soon. But again, you don't have to just buy a new home. You can buy an existing home, or you can renovate your existing home to the green standard. We also work in multifamily. We did our first mixed use project downtown, the Maverick building. And we just launched last year our commercial program. So I get asked this a lot, what is certification? Certification of a building, primarily, it's a process. that demonstrates that a home has been designed, built, it's been tested and verified to achieve the energy and water efficiency levels that are, above a set standard. And what that really means, is like, how do you really know it's green? Well, that's the value of why do you certify a project? Because it's been independently verified and tested through building science to be proven to be what a builder or someone says that it is. Now, on a Build San Antonio Green certified home, it's going to be at a minimum 15% more efficient that is required by our local energy code. Again, it's going to be third-party verified and documented. You're going to enjoy lower operating costs through energy and water savings. I know that right now I'm speaking to you from my home in my home office, and more and more the energy and the water savings now that so many of us are working from home and teaching from home, and they're going up. So again, it's always been important. It becomes even more noticeable right now, I think. You're also going to enjoy greater comfort and increased indoor air quality, and we'll talk about what that means and why that's important. And again, typically with more durable materials that are used in the green building process, and they're going to be more durable as well. So again, why certify? These are some of the benefits, but I would say from a consumer perspective, how do I know it's green just because you say it as well? This is how you would know. Now, what is a Build San Antonio Green home? I'm going to start out by saying that we really look at 5 areas. Now, let's talk about a brand new home. A brand new home that is built to code, right? Our home is, again, at a minimum 15% more energy efficient than a brand new home built next to it that's not a Build San Antonio Green home, or that's not a energy efficient home. So again, we're looking at energy efficiency. We're looking at the water, both indoor and outdoor of the home. We're looking at the health of the home, the materials that are used, and the way that the site is developed and preserved. And again, we're going to kind of walk through all of these things. So first, in energy, and this is a very big overview. So I would encourage you, if you have some more in-depth questions, please follow up with us at Build San Antonio Green and ask your questions. So in energy, one of the biggest first steps is that we're looking at something called the HERS Index, which is really the home energy rating system. Basically, it's a methodology where you can verify and test for increased energy efficiency. When we talk about the energy efficiency of a home, we're talking about the entire building envelope. We want to make sure it's tight. We want to make sure that you have enough insulation. We're looking at the performance of your windows, your doors. We're making sure that your cooling and heating equipment is properly sized and that you don't have air leakage coming out of your ducts or out of your doors and windows. Again, it's going to be 15% at a minimum better than what is required by today's energy code. And that tighter building envelope, it was going to give you increased comfort because you're not going to walk around in your house and have hot rooms and cold rooms. It'll be more even throughout. So, overview of energy. Now, people always ask us, we always include solar and electric vehicles as well. Some of our builders provide solar or electric vehicle charging stations as an upgrade or as an option. We also have a program I mentioned earlier, bringsolarhome.com. Encourage you to go to it. We designed a free tool to help the people of San Antonio connect to their options to go solar. So again, solar, electric vehicles, rainwater harvesting system, renewable energy in general. Those are all options that are readily available within the Green Building Program. We also are looking at water. Now, I talked about the indoor and water usage, right? Not only are we talking about low flow shower heads and aerators on your sink and low flow toilets, but we're also talking about the outdoor water usage in terms of using native landscaping or the percentage of and type of turf that you're using native landscape. All of these things are going to not only save water, but they're also going to, I would argue, give you a more beautiful yard, because you're not going to have to worry about watering it all of the time. So some of the conservation and efficiency benefits, they have a lot of additional benefits as well, because I noticed many years ago when I first did this on my yard, that I had a easier yard to maintain. Site. So both during construction and also after the home is built, site is something that is very important to us. During construction, we're looking at things like the protection of trees and their root systems, so that we can preserve those trees on that lot. We want you to have a construction waste plan, the builder to have one. We want to make sure that we're not sending a bunch of additional materials out to the landfill. We want to limit the amount of impervious cover on your lot. And what that means is cover that water cannot penetrate, right? So big patios, sidewalks, I mean, they're not bad, but we're just trying to make sure that there's enough drainage on the lot so that we prevent stormwater runoff. We're also looking to make sure that you have enough soil that in your landscape so that it's going to prevent it from eroding. And again, back to this drought tolerant vegetation. Health. So health really is one of those interesting categories that kind of spans some of the others. It touches it. You know, when we talk about health of the home, it's also related to your heating and cooling equipment. It's related to the materials that are used in your home. Because really, when we speak about health, we're really talking about maintaining this optimal indoor air quality, right? So we're looking at things like requiring no or low volatile organic compounds, VOCs, in your paints, your adhesive carpets. You know, we've all walked into a room and you could smell the paint. That is an off-gassing from, and the smell is a volatile organic compound, and it's something that we are is very, very harmful to our health, and something that we require in our program to that really gives you a big benefit, because again, when we're living in these indoor environments, a lot of the VOCs that are hidden within our paints or carpets or flooring and cabinetry, these are things that, again, you know, we're trying to reduce and eliminate. We're also looking at things like high efficiency air filters, not only so that your air conditioning equipment is going to run more efficiently, but also because of the impact to the quality of air inside of your home. And again, that goes back to air sealing. You know, I know that many of us have seen recently when we have air quality alert days. Well, what does that mean? That means when the air outside is so bad, the quality of that air is so bad that it causes a lot of, it's very triggering for people that have asthma, you know, the allergens that are in the air. Well, the same thing can happen inside the home. And so having proper air sealing, maintaining that optimal indoor air quality, that's all a part of maintaining our respiratory health, right? And so again, we're looking at fresh air ventilation, making sure, again, that you're really benefiting from, you know, all of those factors together impact our health. And we're also looking at materials, right? So, you know, when the home is built, we have builders use an advanced framing technique. Again, we're looking at more durable, more efficient materials. Oftentimes that leads to a lower operational and maintenance cost. A really good example of this is, you know, you could pick a carpet, or you could pick a different type of flooring that might not have to be replaced as often. You know, that is more durable, that doesn't have VOCs in it. So again, there's a lot of co-benefits here. And again, we're always encouraging the use of materials that have been locally sourced, not only to minimize the embodied energy, but also to reduce emissions from the transport of those materials here to San Antonio. So again, using locally sourced materials, reducing and reusing as often as possible. We've seen some amazing things out on the job site. I know one of our builders a decade ago started grinding up construction waste on site to minimize the impact into our landfill, and started really looking at the materials that we're using to see if they could to source them locally. So again, this is I think a very important part of the program, and it's one that's really growing. Another question I get asked is, who's building green? Well, today we have over 10,000 projects that we've certified here in San Antonio, but and they're all at every price point throughout San Antonio. This is not the exclusive list of our builders. This is just a couple of our larger production builders that you may have heard of that are building green throughout San Antonio. Big question is, how do I find a Build San Antonio Green home? One, I would encourage you to check out one of those builders' websites. Second, you can go to our website at buildsagreen.org. We have a section called Who's Building Green? Who's building Build San Antonio Green homes? You can look at that list. But you know what I would highly recommend? Ask your real estate agent, which leads me to introducing again Elise and Jay to talk to us about what's happening in the San Antonio market. I mean, what's happening with mortgage rates? What are the different trends that you're seeing? So I'm really excited to have Elise and Jay join us, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
All right. Well, thanks, Anita. We really appreciate that, and that was a lot of great information too from the green building side of things. And just to tell you guys a little bit about us, Elise and I, like Anita mentioned, we have over 30 years of experience in San Antonio in real estate, but we're also both locally from San Antonio. She graduated at Lee High School. I graduated at East Central High School. And so we've been around the community for a really long time, if you can imagine that, right? And today, normally Elise is the face and the brains of our operation, but today she's kind of running the controls. So you'll have to deal with me. So we'll go ahead and get started just with some of this information. And like Anita said, we'll kind of kick it off. We can put our slides up, and we'll put we'll just start off with kind of a little bit of an overview, I guess. And this is our contact information if anybody needs it. And we're happy to help answer any questions that you guys have about real estate. And just so you're also aware, Elise we were both certified green through the National Association of Realtors. And then I also got the HERS Energy Rater to rate homes. So I was actually licensed with that. And so anyway, we've got a lot of good experience with the green side of the house as well. Anyway, that's our contact information, and we'll put that up again later in case you guys need it. But like we said, we're here for questions, or throw them out in the Q&A, and we'll get to those when we're done. But so we just wanted to kind of, like we said, get our learn on today. And this is kind of an overview of what we'll talk about kind of quickly here. So that market review for San Antonio, we'll talk about the value of energy efficiency for homeowners, and then a home buying roadmap to help you find your dream home. Show Me the Money is more about those financing options that Anita was talking about. And then Give Me the Keys. That's the homeowners, big excitement day. They get to move in and start making the home their own. And we'll talk about the ways to get there. And then a couple of bonus just tips and secrets that we've picked up over the years to try to help you. And especially we'll have all of this geared towards, towards finding a new build home. And so go ahead and switch that over. And so this is one of the main questions that we get, especially lately. You can imagine, how's the market reacting to COVID-19? And so you can see here, we're showing last year's numbers in March and April. And typically, those are roundabout figures, but we're typically selling about 2,500 homes a month during the spring months in San Antonio. And then you can see in March of 2020, we were down to about 2,300 homes sold, and then in April this year we were down to about 2,100 homes, and that's when the market was kind of dipping. And if you remember that time frame, obviously it seems like forever ago, but that's when we were really kind of locked down hard. And since June, basically, things have really come back around in the real estate market, and we've sold more than 3,000 plus homes a month as a city group, and you can see so those numbers are quite a bit larger than where we were sitting last year. And just a quick summary on that. Uh, Basically, the market is currently stronger than the pre-pandemic numbers, and we've got just a lot of activity going on right now. Um, and it's also kind of pushed our summer months down. When we typically be hitting the height in July and August, now we're hitting that in September. Still going to be pretty strong, it looks like, and probably even into October. And so here's just kind of some market statistics you can see there from the graphic. The number of new listings, active listings, sales. But to kind of put all that into a snapshot for you, I'll just go over on these numbers on the right. But the average home price was sitting at just over $300,000. The median home price is just over $260,000. The days on the market is only 57 days on the market, and that's pretty rapid if you think about most people are buying with the loan, and that loan's going to take about 30, maybe 35 days to close. So that means that these houses are getting under contract in 2 or 3 weeks on the market, and then by the time they close, that's averaging out to about 57 days. So it's moving pretty quickly. The homes sold increase is a 25% increase year over year between where we're at now versus where we're at last summer. And then the month supply of home, this is pretty telling, is 2.6 months. And just to put that into perspective for you, that means that if there were 3,000 houses on the market right now, and we didn't put any new houses back on the market in 2.5 months, so roughly just after Thanksgiving, there would be no more houses for sale. So that's how quickly these things are going. Just to give you an idea of that. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about what this means in a rent versus buy scenario. So did you know that you can buy a $225,000 home with a zero down payment and have the same or even a lower payment than the average monthly rent payment in San Antonio? That's pretty remarkable when you kind of dig into that a little bit. And another thing that Anita and them were talking about, but last year BSAG certified 44% of all the new build homes in San Antonio and Bexar County, and that's a huge number when you start looking at all those builders that they were talking about, plus others. I mean, that's almost half of all the houses. So that's how important it is to have a little bit of aspect, and it's why it's good that you're here to be learning a little bit about the value of having a green built home. And so to kind of put all these numbers into sense for you and why this is good for you, the home buyer. So right now, interest rates are at an all-time low, and we're talking historically low numbers. Just as an example, we've got a friend she's been in the real estate business since the late 70s. You can imagine she's a little bit older now, so she's seen a bunch. But she said in the 70s, they were having interest rates. It wasn't uncommon for people to have an 18 or 21, 22% interest rate on a home. So if you can imagine, if you take that over time where we're at now, it's pretty common for somebody to get under 3% interest rate on their home loan right now. And then, and if you go historically average, that means the numbers will normally sit between 8 and 10% on a typical time frame. So if we're at a historical low and the numbers can get up to 8 to 10% on average, that kind of tells you how good the market is right now in terms of lower interest rates. Now, the new builds, that's also a plus for our home buyers because that means you have less competition. And just last weekend, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, there was a home that hit the market that had 26 offers in the first 2 days. I mean, that's just crazy. And then we've had even one of our recent listings that hit the market over the opening weekend. We had 6 offers before Saturday, and we kind of wrapped it up and told everybody we weren't taking any more offers so that the seller had plenty to choose from. So in looking at it from those terms and those days on the market that we're talking about, it's less competition for a new home build, and especially when you can get the same floor plan, just on a different lot in the same neighborhood, or maybe the same builder, building down the road can build the same thing for you. So new builds really have a strong connection for people right now. Plus, a lot of people are working from home, like we all, we know how it is. People are, classes from home, working from home, doing all those things. What that's led to is we've seen a recent trend where people aren't necessarily looking to be in a certain neighborhood or in an area that puts them within 20 or 30 minutes from work, because people are working just so much from home now that commute time isn't factoring into their home decision or the home buying decision location wise anyway. And that's making these new home builds very exciting for people. Plus some of the other, the other things that they're offering in terms of what you get from a new home build. And just to give you an example of that, I mean, we've had uh, people living in that were living in Austin because they were working in Austin that are now buying homes in San Antonio because they're only having to go to the office once a week or so. So it makes sense for them to get into a newer home down here than it does to potentially purchase up there where they're at. So that's how flexible those things are becoming. So now we're going to talk about what is the value of new construction, and in particular these new construction energy efficient homes for a new homeowner, right? And so right off the bat, you're talking about lower monthly expenses, and Anita was talking about that in terms of water and energy usage, and we know stories of people with in a neighborhood where it's a little bit older and the houses aren't as energy efficient. I mean, you could have neighbors with $400 or $500 a month electric bills, and then you have a person with an energy efficient home, and their average electric bill is $150 a month. I mean, so right off the bat, that's real money in your pocket. That's $300 or $400 a month that you could be saving, and that's of course an extreme example, but even 15% in your pocket a month compared to a neighbor with another new house that just isn't built to the same standard, right? Plus, you get the visual benefits and the happy emotions about having a new shiny home that was built just for you, and you're going to be the first one to sleep in this room and do all those kinds of things to build your memories. So having the new shiny home is definitely a plus for a new home build. And then again, that less of a carbon footprint, like she was mentioning. I mean, just the number of cars that they're taking off the road by certifying houses in this way, and that means something for each family, because now you're talking about saving the air quality and the outdoor space for your kids and even your kids' kids at that point. And finally, you've got a peace of mind aspect that comes with the new build, because many of the new builder warranties will cover different parts of the home for up to 10 years, which is huge. In a typical existing home sale, you may or may not get a warranty that'll typically cover a year. But now you're talking about having major parts of the home covered for up to 10 years, and that's again a big advantage of going with a new home build, and especially one that's being built and certified by Build San Antonio Green. So now we're going to talk about what is the home buying roadmap to finding the home of your dreams, and we'll hit some of the highlights here. I mean, what we're doing right now again is you're kind of we're kind of passing out some information to you, but we're here to answer any questions that you have, and getting with the real estate agent just to kind of find out what you're looking for, what are things that are important to you, all those types of things. So you can see on the chart on the left, and then we'll kind of go over that in more detail here in a second. But to complete that whole cycle and that home buying roadmap, to follow that whole thing, you're going to need over 100, or there are over 118 different variables that need to get negotiated, managed, and done in the correct order so that you can actually have a successful transaction and get the keys to your new home. So this is the fun part. Show me the money, right? These are the financing options, and there's so much going on right now within San Antonio. We've got down payment assistance programs for people that need it, and you're talking statewide programs through TSHAC, city programs through COSA. There is national programs through NACA and other things like that. Then for particularly, or only for new home builds, there are energy efficient loans where the lender will take into account your overall cost of owning a new home that's energy efficient versus owning a typical new build home. And so those are actually only limited to new home builds right now. There's not anything for an existing home in that range right now, but you never know what will come down the road. And then also there's the conventional loans, the VA loans, FHA loans, and USDA loans. And of course, those are all out there and available. And one of the big deciding factors for all those things are credit, cash to close, and your debt to income ratio. And of course, we can talk to you guys about all that stuff if you want to speak with us. That because there's we're going over a lot and we're really packing it into that little bit of space, but we can direct you to the spot that'll help you with those different loan types. And not all lenders do all those loans. And one of the reasons that we have credit on there is because there's so many different things, especially in the way of, we hear it all the time about a home buyer that says, well, I want to get my credit score to X amount and that'll get me qualified to buy a home. And then they kind of go through some companies, and so a lot of these companies will help you get your credit score up, but it's not the same as being able to qualify for a mortgage. And a great example that I'll give you is, and this happened with a client of ours a little while back, but anyway, they came in and they were trying to go the route of fixing their own credit and getting their credit score to a certain amount. But anyway, we had them talk with a lender that we knew would be able to help them in the situation that they were in. And that lender looked over some stuff and was like, well, you definitely don't want to pay off these cards and then close out the accounts, because that'll make your credit worse off than if we just pay, hey, we pay a little bit, 300 or 400 here on this card and a little bit on this card. And that'll get your debt to income ratios where you want it, plus increase their credit score to get them qualified. So it was a lot quicker and a lot more convenient, less cash out of their pocket to do it that way. And it got them qualified for a mortgage loan versus just upping their credit score. So definitely come talk to us about that if you have questions there. So the next part of this is the give me the keys, right? How do we get to the stage where you're a happy homeowner and you're walking into your house for the first time? Well, first of all, we're going to have to make an offer on the house. And when we're making an offer, it could go back and forth depending on what they're asking for, what we're offering for it. And there's price and conditions, so it's not just the price of the house. I mean, not conditions, but price and terms, because we could be asking for down payment assistance or closing costs or what have you. So anyway, we'd submit that offer, and then they would negotiate that, or it could potentially get negotiated back and forth. And once we get that kind of locked in, then we'd be officially under contract. Like we mentioned before, from that point there, being under contract, it'll typically take about 30-ish days to actually get to the closing, right? And so at that point, we'd be talking about third-party inspections. So the builder is going to have their inspections along the way to make sure that they have their own quality control in there. Plus, through the city, they're going to have to get permitted on the different aspects of their build. So the city will come through and make sure that all those that they can receive permits for them. But then we can also connect you with a third-party inspector that's certified through the state, and they would be able to come in and just look at the house and make sure there's nothing going on or see anything outside of the norm. If there is, we bring it to the builder's attention, and they could catch it before the build gets too far or it's out of whack. And worst case scenario, they could save you from actually going through and buying this house that has some major defects or whatever. So we always kind of recommend that, but it's totally up to you on those inspections. The next big hurdle is appraisals. Now, appraisals with the new build, another kind of side benefit of that is, because they're building similar floor plans in a similar area, there's not a difficulty typically in getting an appraisal done on those houses, because they kind of know what they're going for via the other houses that they've sold. But that is in place just to make sure that the bank that's lending the money is getting a home and a property that's worth the money that they're lending. So once we kind of get over that hurdle, then we'd start getting into more of the fun stuff, which is the blue tape inspection and the final walkthrough. Now, the blue tape inspection with the builders, they'll give you a literal roll of blue tape, and you go through and you stick a piece of blue tape if you see something that they missed. let's say there's a chip in one of the electrical outlets or a scuff on, one of the walls, or maybe they even just forgot to paint a corner of a closet that you see. You put the blue tape out there, and then they come through and they fix all those areas with blue tape. And then we would do the final walkthrough kind of the day of closing, and we would go through, just make sure all those areas that were blue taped were fixed and corrected, make sure everything else, that we asked for. The refrigerator is supposed to be in place, we want to make sure that's there, all those kinds of things. So we just put our eyes on it, quickly walk through the house, and then we go to the closing. Now the closing will typically be done at either a title company or sometimes in the builder's office. uh, but I just want to make sure that we understand that there's a difference between closing and funding, and they're kind of two distinct events. But basically, the closing is when you sign all the documents to make the house yours, and a lot of those documents will be from the lender. They're lending a lot of money, and they just want to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So what'll typically happen is you'll sign the documents, then the lender will get them collected back and review them quickly. And then once they're reviewed, the lender will tell the title company, okay, release the funds. Now, when the funds get released, then you get to have the keys. But there's some caveats, especially. So we always like to tell our clients not to close on a Friday or the day before a weekend or a holiday, like we're going into Labor Day weekend this weekend. So if we were to close today on Thursday, and the closing had, whatever, for whatever reason, let's say we closed at 3 o'clock, or like right now, right? We're closing now, but the bank is on the East Coast. So they're already closed for the day. So that money is not going to get here until the next business day, which means that the money would come in tomorrow, the loan would be funded, and you'd be happy to move in for the weekend. Now, if you take that same scenario and you close tomorrow on Friday and it happens, well, now your happy weekend just got pushed until Tuesday, because that's the next business day and that's the closest that you can come to get your keys. So we'll always guide you through these things along the way, but that's just something for you to be aware of when we're trying to schedule these dates and these closings. And so now on to the bonus tips and secrets. Just a few of the things that we picked up over the years. Like we know a lot of the local builders, the builders reps, and we keep abreast every week of what the new incentives are, if they have any incentives, which places are in closeout and which ones aren't. That way we know what's going on, and we can pass that on to you, our clients, and help you out. As an example, just one of the things that we've recently done with the client is we were working with a new builder for them, and we'll say that we'd lost out on a couple of contracts on existing homes, but they liked the new build areas anyway, so it worked out perfect. We went into a new build, we got under a contract, but they were going to need help with closing costs. So we got the builder to provide some closing costs, which was one of the incentives that we knew about in this neighborhood, but they still needed another $5,000 ish. So what we were able to do is submit with the builder, and we asked them if they had any realtor incentives coming up. Realtor bonuses is what they call them, and they were able to give us a realtor bonus, which we were then able to rebate back to our clients. So our clients were able to come out of or go through the closing and not have to pay any of the closing costs. And that's just something that, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, and it's not always that perfectly set up, but that is an example of what we can do by knowing the people that we're working with on a regular basis. Um, and another one of these tips is that builders have inventory homes, and then they have slab pour homes. Now, slab pour is when you kind of choose your lot, you choose your floor plan, and then they start building this house specifically for you. Uh, and they're excited to do that, but that house is you're already the buyer for it, so they're not going to really have any closing costs after they've built it, right? They're going to build it, it's going to be ready for you to move in, you're going to close and move in. Now, an inventory home, on the other hand, this could be a house like that they've already started building for another buyer, and that buyer had to back out for some reason. Maybe their job changed, maybe they were in the military and their move got halted. So the builder is building this inventory home. Or it could be an inventory home that they're using as a model for the home buyers to come through and look at and kind of see how it actually feels to be in that house. So either way, on an inventory house, the builder's already got money invested, plus it's costing them every month to hold that house without a buyer on it. So sometimes they'll put those inventory homes, they'll give some better bonuses or some better incentives for the buyers. And in knowing the builders, again, keeping up with those relationships, we know, every week what's going on with different builders and which houses are going to have better incentives. So we can definitely help homeowners with that kind of thing. And then the last thing, again, is we call it AMA, but ask us anything about real estate. I mean, we'd love to set up a one-on-one with you, or we can go through the Q&A here with you. But the big thing there is we're a resource for you, and we've been around, like we said, in the business for 30 years. So we're happy to share whatever we can with you to help you get into your house. And with that, I think we're pretty much at the end of what what we had there, Anita. And I don't know if we have any questions to go over, or if anybody's got some questions for us.
I'm here.
Maybe we're back.
Okay.
Hey guys. Well, I thank you so much for your presentation. I have a couple of questions for you guys. I think it's really interesting, Jay, that you, your experience as an energy rater and a real estate agent. So you really know those both sides, And how do you see the demand? How's the demand for green homes or for energy and water efficient homes? How's that changed over the last 5 years or so?
Well, I mean, obviously, just from the numbers alone, it's changed dramatically on how many houses are getting certified. I mean, it was even 5 years ago, it was a much smaller slice of the pie, and these were companies that were kind of standing out. But now you've got major builders like Lennar and KB, and that are kind of newer to the scene with that. And those houses, from the houses that I inspected, you could always kind of tell. I felt like just the quality in general was higher because if they knew that they were getting tested from a third party, everybody is going to keep the cues a little bit more than another builder who might not be getting tested.
Awesome, thank you. I think it really is interesting how the pandemic has really impacted the way that we live and kind of what people want and what they're looking for. I feel, we hear often that this is something that's going to stay with us for a very long time, the residual effects, and it's interesting to me. I know that we've talked about this offline a long time ago. It's like what moves a market is consumer demand. It really moves it. If everybody wakes up one day and says, I want this one thing, I mean, that is what starts happening. And so I do think it's interesting. I also obviously have seen the same uptick in the demand for an energy efficient home, for a water conserving home. People start asking for, if they have an electric vehicle and they want a charging station. More and more people see solar as a very mainstream, accessible thing. We're a national leader in solar here in San Antonio. So, but yeah, I just kind of want to get, you touched on about how the COVID-19 has really impacted what people are wanting, and how that is really also helping to reshape, I guess, the real estate market in terms of what people want. I mean, friends, colleagues, having to homeschool their children right now, obviously working from home, wanting workout equipment, all of a sudden everyone wants a home gym, so there's a lot of, maybe people, I had friends of mine that were previously planning on downsizing, that now are they don't want to downsize because they, are wanting, they need to accommodate this new lifestyle. So again, I mean, I just kind of want to throw that back out there. I do think that is a very interesting aspect to all of this.
We're home. A lot of people are home all day now, and they need more space. And a lot of new builds that have, offices and bigger space, but also we use a lot of energy during the day. Mm-hmm. And a lot. Like people's bills are tripling and quadrupling during this if they don't have an energy efficient home. And the people that go get a big, nice energy efficient home, they don't have to worry about their energy bill going so maybe they're home all day, running the AC and everything.
Let me throw this as might be my last question. It's a hard one. Is like, how long do you think this is going to last? Like, people talk about like, the market is hot right now. If you were wanting to buy a home, this is mortgage rates. All the things are lining up. How long do you think that this is going to last?
So I think, and we've been, obviously pay attention to that stuff pretty closely, but we think price wise, San Antonio's kind of near a peak because we're outpacing the affordability of what that is. And I think
you said it went up 25%. I'm sorry.
Well, the number of sales went up 25% year over year, but that crossing that 300,000 average payment threshold, it's huge for San Antonio. And I think you'll see us kind of flatten out somewhere around there over the next, call it 2-3 years. And then we'll have to see what's then taken off with jobs and technology and all the stuff that they're bringing to San Antonio, and see where cost of living settles in again with that. But I think pace wise, San Antonio is still going to be strong because population influx. I mean, you've got, northern snowbirds that are still, the weather here is going to be great with, again, especially compared to what's going on with the COVID. You're going to want warmer, drier climates, less built up, big city kind of thing, because you're going to want more space. So all those reasons, I think we'll still be strong in terms of population addition, which means people got to have a place to live. So I think the market will be steady. I don't think it'll be like a giant crash like '08, but I think it'll be a little flat curve in terms of, you're not going to buy it today and then, in 3 years see this giant price increase in your house.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, I think why, what's so important to me, and I think our work at Build San Antonio Green, is that, these homes are going to get built. They're getting built. So we want to make sure that they're green, so that they are not only protecting the health of the people that live in them, but they're also helping to preserve our city and our resources, So again, I want to thank you guys so much. I think we have an information slide we want to do up real quick.
All right.
So, well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, no, thank you guys so much. Again, we have, we'll be having another webinar come up soon about retrofitting your homes. And if you'd like to get a hold of Jay and Elise, please contact us at buildsanantoniogreen.org if you have any questions for us, and find us on YouTube and connect with us. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.